This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
Season 3 of The Pass is here. I know it's long overdue. We have a new intro. We still got the same content. Well, actually, it's a little bit of new content because there's new things going on in 2019. So buckle up. We got a lot of things to talk about on The Pass. What's up, y'all? What's going on? Episode 256 of The Pass is here. I'm your host, BT. As you can read by the title, we have a bit of a new, I'm trying out something new, and I normally am usually sitting here giving y'all the regular spiel, the real deal about sports, video games, music, and entertainment. Today, I do have an entertainer, which I do want to make sure I add into the process. So I'm going to introduce him in just a bit. Before I do that, I do want to give a brief promo for a group that I've recently joined called the RVA Podcasters Network, or RVA Podcast Network here in Richmond. So if you did hear the intro, you will hear that jingle at the beginning. I'm not going to really go into a long-winded intro. Normally, I'm always talking about a lot of random stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and, as I follow proper protocol with my show, I like to let my guests introduce themselves. So if you're ready to introduce yourself.
Yes, how's everybody doing? I'm Coach A.T. Jones. I'm a confidence coach, and I teach the power of emotional intelligence. And it's a pleasure to come and hang out with you guys today.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you on. So, and it kind of is good because you gave like a humble introduction. So I'm going to give the open-ended intro. Who is A.T. Jones? Who is A.T. Jones specifically?
Oh, you said who is A.T. Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm a young kid from Selma, Alabama, who first love was music, playing piano, and trying to find my way in the world, doing the things that I knew how to do. And kind of ended up in New York as a motivational speaker who had experiences with playing with Stevie Wonder and a lot of amazing things, man, and trying to now take stuff that I've learned in my life and give back to the world.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So one thing that stood out, and I guess some of my listeners know this, but I'll tell you because you don't know this. I would probably say top 3. I know people don't like doing top 5 lists and top list periods since all of the opinions get awry, but Stevie Wonder is one of my top artists. So the fact that you worked with him directly is pretty awesome. I'm not going to even lie. Like that's information that I'm just finding out. So I definitely give you props on that one. That's big. I would.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I definitely didn't know that, and that's pretty dope.
Yeah. I'm a big, I mean, so yeah, my brief, like with me, I've done music. So like, well, let me backtrack. I've played in a band when I was young. So music just kind of stuck with me. So anytime someone introduces new music to me, I know, and I guess I should give the listeners the understanding of how we got this going. So a friend of mine who is actually, her songs are the intro and the outro for this podcast, Tanya China. She's a music content, I call her a content creator. And she, referenced you as one of the people to check out and actually listen to the song. I believe it was Free, which was a good song. I did enjoy that. So that was a good listen.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
The song that you did. No, you good. The song you did, Free. That was I think you sent it to me and she sent it to me, and it was a pretty good song.
song was that? Was it Fly High?
Fly High. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here. I don't know where I'm getting free from.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm creating a different style of music now, where since I'm a producer, I'm just really creative. So I've been a motivational speaker now for 3 years, and I wanted to get my message out in a more productive, creative way. So I produce everything, and then so I write the lyrics and everything. I was just like, man, let's put this music and these words together to create a lane that other speakers can kind of dive into. It's a lot of music people who are just straight positive, you know what I mean? And they probably not a rap, probably not a sing, but they have great intellectual stuff that they could put on top of the music that they create that nobody has ever probably listened. And that's my whole concept around this new music that's coming out. We just did a song called Flexibility, and I did a whole video and just finished the video a few minutes ago.
Oh, nice.
The editing process, and it's a great journey, man, because it will help listeners and people to watch me as a speaker because they're into the music. They're into something that will capture them. Because I mean, you might hit speaking, and that might not just hit you right away, but if you hear something that's catchy, and it'll cause instant likability factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we've been experimenting with that. So it's good that you was able to check that out. And that's cool. We have 2 songs out right now. Hit them in the mouth with your success and Fly High.
Okay.
And Flexibility is coming out. That's gonna be the next song that comes out, and we're just putting them out, man. Slowly but surely, just testing the new market because it's so fresh and new.
Right.
You gotta stay looking ahead because you can't lean on what somebody else is doing. So.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
So.
That and it's good. Because I know I'm figuring you're doing music. Obviously, that implies of being a producer. So it's an interesting thought because you're considered in that same category of being a content creator. So this is a question I actually didn't have listed, but I can kind of, I ain't gonna say I can kind of, I'm going to ask this because it ties perfectly into what you do. Most people, when they look at the finished product, they're looking at it as this song was set amount of time. We'll say for the sake of this conversation, 3.5, 4 minute song. No one really looks at or understands the background or the time that goes into generating or creating that 3 or 4 minute song. If you were to kind of take a roundabout guess, how much time do you personally feel it takes between production, between beats, between artistry, etc.? Like, how much time would you say goes into that?
Mm-hmm. And so I know that you work with somebody that doesn't understand of writing, then you're going to spend a lot of time on writing a song.
Right.
If you with somebody that doesn't understand engineering, you're going to spend a lot of time on engineering the song. Okay. If you don't know anything about recording, you're going to spend a lot of time on recording. I've been doing this a long time. I personally only work with professionals.
Gotcha.
And a professional is somebody that goes in and is not trying to be perfect, but trying to get the job done.
Okay.
And with you saying that, when I go in the studio, I understand my role. So when I go in, I can play the piano. I play anything I hear. So that's what people need me in there to do. They don't need me in there to rap. They don't need me in there to sing. They need me in there to go in, somebody humming something, they don't know how to play it. So boom, I play it.
Right.
Or or somebody coming in the studio, they know how to sing, but they don't know how to put it together.
Okay.
I know that singer put it together. I'm not gonna try to sing the song to the singer because that's the singer's job.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And me saying that, the time comes in when you're working with inexperienced people.
Right.
Anybody that's in the studio that's creating something, the only way you're going to get the best product is from the people that knows what they're doing or has needed something enough for it to make sense. If you're completing therapy with FL Studios,
Okay.
if you go on FL Studios and you complete 1,000 tracks, I would want to work with you as a beat maker because I know when I'm working with you, you're not going to spend all day on kick drum.
Right.
You're not going to spend all day on making, the bridge, the hook, you're not going to spend all that time wasting my time, trying to get it out because our end goal when I'm in the studio with somebody is to complete the project with them. It's not to critique how good it could be. Can we finish it?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I answered the question.
This is where being a podcaster is kind of fun, and I'm gonna talk to you about podcasting in a bit because I've been doing some research, but we'll get there in a second. The perk of being for instance, with this show, it's normally me talking blah blah blah, ramble. But I've had a lot of people on the show as guests. And when I say a lot of people on the show as guests, it's been friends. I've had different interviews. And when I have other people on the show, it's introduced me to listening. So I say that in saying it as from what I interpreted and understood, and if I missed the mark, let me know, is I won't say that you're a perfectionist, but I also know that when it comes to you investing time in the craft, you're not going to invest the time if the person that's on the other end of providing that craft isn't giving their best effort. Is that like a good assessment to make?
You gotta know the other person that you're working with.
Okay.
When you're working with them.
Right.
If you know their intention, then you know how to work with that person.
Yeah.
Like with me, when I work with somebody, I'm not looking at how dope a person. I'm looking at how much they care about what they know how to do.
Right.
But if you care about what you know how to do, I care about what you know how to do. Mm-hmm. But I know I'm getting in the studio with you. You can do what you love to do on top of what I love to do. It is going to make it super dope.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the power of individuality. But if a person's intention is, I need to make a hit so that I can be great by myself without anybody else getting any credit from that, then now you have a selfish person that you're working with that got dope skills, but their intention is just to be self-gratifying themselves. So that project can't go anywhere because of the intentions of where it started.
Okay. Got you. All right, that means.
I hate to be sweet like that, but like.
No, that's being transparent.
People, I'm looking. Say that again.
That's being transparent.
Right. You wanna always say, when I'm working, I want this to benefit my family and my future.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You don't wanna be working to be Michael Jackson celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Like, or to be the next Pharrell. You don't want to do that.
Right.
You wanna say, what I'm doing is gonna build a school or it's gonna help some other people with my skills and abilities so that other people can learn how to do this, and then we all
right.
And if you had that mentality, and then the people you're working with had that mentality, then the music is gonna spread that.
Okay.
You're gonna spread it. You know.
That's what's changed. That's what has and is continuing to change with music. So I've learned is you've got to hit the ear at the right point, at least in my opinion.
Well, people think frequency is having a dope track. Frequency is not having a dope track.
Mm-hmm.
Frequency is the heart that was behind making the music.
Yes.
If the heart was right, that's what's going to make everything else kind of flow in its unity. But if you see, everything is about the intent. Everything is about self gratification.
Yeah.
Everybody can get off of self gratification. Then you could dive into like your deepest desires because your intent is going to get you everything you want.
Okay. Never thought of it like.
Okay.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that at any point. Especially, I mean, I know from my personal end with me doing podcasting. I mean, if you would have asked me, 3 years ago, would I still be doing podcasts? I probably would say no, because I didn't realize, or would I have made it to this many episodes? I'd be like, no, I won't really. I just was kind of thinking it was something I was going to do to have fun, but it's kind of become like my lifeline and my routine, and it's something that I've put my best effort towards, and that's something that you have to be willing to do, because to put it into an even better perspective, if Tanya had came to me last year and asked me about doing interviews, it wouldn't even have been a delay. I'd have been like, no, I'm not doing interviews. I'm good. Because I personally wasn't comfortable or confident enough to do it. But now it's a more, you know what? Hey, let's talk it out. Let's shoot the breeze. Let's have a good convo and let it all just kind of flow.
Right.
But yeah, everything you said, I do. It makes a lot of sense, and it's very balanced on the musical end. So some of my questions are a little non-musical, but they are a little, because I factored that in, and I was like, okay, the music part, since we're in a music state, and I will, for the listeners, because you may have heard him mention it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I looked at it and the program bombarded me at the time when I saw it. FL Studio is like a beat making type of program. So it's basically, you go in, you put your beats in, you watch how it literally is set up where you can watch it all flow together and things of that sort. And it's just a matter of, like you said, if you going in and somebody is working on trying to make their first beat while you're with them, that's proof that they're kind of still in that learning and getting to know stage with the program.
Yeah. I describe it like this, man. It's a birthing of inspiration that you get in the beginning of anything that you're trying to do.
Right.
For example, I went to bowling alley with some friends, just going, and I go get some raggedy shoes, go get a raggedy ball, and then like everybody talking crazy, everybody bowling.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up there and then I bowl my little ball. And then when I bowl my ball, it goes all the way down. And when it goes all the way down, as soon as it gets to the end, it goes to the left like 2 meters, boom. And then it hits the pin. And like it goes over. It wasn't a strike, but the fact that my ball curved a little bit gave me the ounce of inspiration.
Right. Makes sense.
Everybody else's ball, it was curving, it curved all the way to the right, then it come hard to the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go bowling, I don't know if anybody knows about bowling.
Yeah.
But when you in the bowling alley, they be throwing the ball, it goes down, and then it hits to the right, and it curves back over to the left again.
Yeah.
My inspiration was the fact that it curves a little bit, and I never knew how to do it.
Okay.
Never thought about doing it, never even dreamed about it. But the fact that I did it, it excited me.
Okay.
Everybody do something, that thing has to excite you. If it doesn't excite you, you will never be great at it. So, with me saying that next day, I went to the bowling store. I bought me 2 brand new balls. I bought me a hairband. I bought me some brand new shoes. Chalk. I was at the bowling alley like 3-4 times a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I was just like sweating. I'm talking about, man, my curve got so good, dude. I was considered now a professional.
Right.
Because I knew how to release it and boom. But it started with that first time me just being at the, bowling alley with my friends and like just bowling and then something just hit. Everybody starts like that. FL Studios, Pro Tools, whatever you're trying to do, Logic, Ableton Live, whatever you're trying to do, you got to start right there where, boom, I was able to do that. That's kind of dope. Let me get back on it.
Right.
Let me do it again. When you are able to complete a song from the beginning to the end, that's when you call yourself a practitioner in the music world.
Gotcha.
People cannot complete songs. They can start on them. They got a whole library of just beats. They don't have a library of catalog.
Mm-hmm.
It's the difference. If you got a catalog, you go out with your USB drive or your hard drive, and you going to studio to studio trying to connect with different writers, different artists.
To get your beats
That's
on.
the only purpose for a person to be a beat maker.
Right.
You ain't no beat maker because you got it in your computer at home. You out networking with people in somebody's studio trying to get somebody to sing your song.
True.
And it's like the spark isn't there because people don't see it from the start to the finish of how to be successful in the music industry. Like, I'm different in the music industry because I could play anything I hear. So that puts me in a different lane than somebody that's trying to be an artist. Like, I'm the guru to the artist because the artist can't create stuff they hear. They could just emulate stuff that somebody tells them what to do.
Right.
I'm the person that can tell them what to do. Or I can get a writer in the room and I can tell the writer what to do. He got a hit, and that is a lot more power to understand why people aren't successful.
Okay.
The beat maker, he doesn't put value to it. It's all about intent. Like you make him be the next, what's my dude name? Bishop Keys.
I know you're talking about Swiss.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Swiss Beats. Yeah.
Swiss Beats. You trying to be next Pharrell? You trying to be the next Timberland? Or are you trying to be the next you and be your family?
Right.
Because being the next you is the only reality that it is to music. You got to go out and set the next date to go and perform somewhere. You got to go out to the next studio, see who's doing what. You got to have your BMI or your ass down together. You got to get all of this stuff lined up. Because something does happen. Like if you don't have anything together, you won't even know because you ain't got your paperwork together.
True.
So stuff will be happening at the time. And you won't even be a part of it, but you've been wrote on everything. But people don't imagine it like that because they're so disconnected from the intent. Music is a business, like
on
a level where when you like in the grocery store and they got the dude stocking the shelves,
Mm-hmm.
that's the same concept. You stocking the shelves, but you just stocking the music.
Right.
And you have to really be invested in. It's a hard sport to be invested in. It's a whole bunch of people doing it, and a whole bunch of people don't care. They're doing shady business. You think everybody's supposed to do shady business? Everybody's doing shady business.
Right, which is far from how you're supposed to do it if you want to build like that supposed brand or that platform. Yeah, that's true.
Well, you just don't understand. It's a very small window of success because nobody knows what's going on. Let me tell you, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
That ain't just music. That's with like Christianity. I was reading in the Bible know the odious woman. How you don't know what an odious woman is, and it talks about this, and you're supposed to be somebody that's telling you what to do or what not to do in life.
Right.
You know, and with everything that we do in life, if you're not educating yourself, then you're amongst the people that are ignorant too.
Yeah, that's real. That's one of those things that's hard to look at because we educate ourselves. I want to make sure I say this right. We selectively educate ourselves, and it's only because we get information, and instead of actually getting the full bit of the information, we get what we got, and then we go. Perfect example this week, and I think having you on the show was good because it was helpful because there was a topic that came up in sports that I know people were going to wonder, was I going to talk about it? And I'm like, it's good that I'm taking a break this week on doing sports because everyone's been on the Jay-Z NFL thing. And people got information, but they didn't get all of the information. They got the video, they got the story, they got this and that. And it's, okay, we're canceling Jay-Z because he's not supporting it. You know, he's not on board with Kaepernick. I'm not watching the NFL. And I'm sitting here like, you do understand that it's not a cut and dry, get in, join, make the NFL great, you know, make the NFL black, whatever the case may be. And I'm tangenting a little bit with that, but it's mainly the factor of you have to always remember it's a business. My roommate and I, we've had this conversation at least once a month, if not every other week. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business. If you don't know that or don't realize that, think of the people invested in the sport. You have one team alone, their stadium is practically worth a whole city's like finances. But that's all. That's like a whole different run. But yeah, like you said, it's the. Go ahead.
No, I love where you're going, man. Because like as a coach, what I do is I get people to understand the basics of life.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is with life is people are really driving an expensive car, but really they really drink milk. You can't drive an expensive car when you're still on milk because you will never, ever in your entire life get to be able to drive an expensive car if you don't understand that the muscles in your thighs aren't ready for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have so many people that have been manipulated, not in a bad way, but in a natural way.
Okay.
You know, our bodies aren't designed to be on a cell phone. You know, our bodies aren't designed to look at television all day.
Okay.
Our bodies aren't designed
before you continue.
Listen to the radio.
Before you continue, I need you to go back and repeat that first part because I think I really need listeners to understand like the phone thing.
Yeah, man. Like, okay, so, for instance, they have done studies on television programming, and the reason why they do stuff on TV is because it's literally programming the views of society. It programs your mind to think a certain way, to act a certain way. Your impulses are tapped into. It's a whole study that has been done for years that they just understand the blue light. It makes you, vulnerable to a whole bunch of different stuff. So now we have cell phones in our hands. Now that is times 10. Just like it's almost like the same theory of, okay, let's get rid of cigarettes, but let's get e-cigarettes, but put 3 times more in the e-cigarette for people not to realize that the e-cigarette is worse than a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same mentality. But with cell phone, it's so addictive because everything we do is on that cell phone.
Right.
Everything. From credit cards to your Facebook, and you lose your cell
You lose your life.
Debit card, you gonna go through something.
Yeah.
Like you gonna go through some real hardship for 3-4 days with the cell phone or your debit card. Like it's just you know. And so with that understanding, you're trapped into a matrix that you don't know that it's something you try.
Mm-hmm.
You just fucking you try. Like, and how to avoid it is to get you a strong routine of practice where you're reading way more than you're entertaining worldly possessions.
Okay.
Your mind is the most important thing that you have, your brain. And so if you can educate yourself without the use of your cell phone, reading the Bible, reading books, just like literally getting on a healthy diet of just reading, then you're not trapped in the matrix. Because your brain can do other things than what 75% of the population is going to be doing in the next 10, 15 years. You are not trapped to Facebook, social media, Instagram, Snapchat, trying to get as many likes as possible, trying to make sure that you want, they want. I think everybody dreams to get a viral post, you know,
and or get
a viral video,
and or get the blue check.
Right, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
So if you can unlock your heart from that, you can unlock your body and everything that you have from that mentality, then you will be in the month of an elite crew who are creating a newer invention.
Right.
Who are creating things that you can feel and can taste and can touch. See, the people online, they can't feel, they can't taste, they can't touch. That's why nothing's ever good enough.
Right.
Never good enough.
That's
you disconnect from that.
Not in.
Then you can feel. Then you can taste. Then you can touch. Then you can line your body back up with reality of what you were supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right. That's true. That's real. That's been my wave. That's something that I've worked on. Like, it's a whole lot of stuff you said that I haven't like responded, because it was one. I know it was like one portion you mentioned is like getting those things out there and getting yourself exposed. I consider that it's a term that I've used this year called small achievements, and basically it's like anything that you're doing, like value that moment, because a lot of times we value things, but we don't value them like we should because we're like, well, it's not enough. Going into the everything that you just stated just now, my friends and people who know me just in general have been wondering for the longest time, and I even have it as one of the links that I promote in my show notes for the podcast. I found a company called Bagby who basically they made this. They started off with just a simple little device that you put over your phone, and it's basically a way of saying, look up, don't use your phone, relax, it's okay, you won't miss anything if you do this for a while. So I had that. I bought like a little bag from them, which I put my phone in. A lot of people be like, well, why you got a bag for your phone? Like, what do you need that for? And I'm like, because I need to be present. Like, I want to, like, moments are going to be there, and moments are great. And it's good to utilize technology for what it's worth. I'm a tech guy. Anyone who knows me, I mean, I went to school for computers. So it's not that I don't value technology, but I also know the more we use technology, the more it's going to overwhelm us and or bombard us without knowing it. You're around the same age, so you probably would remember this. I might have said this on the podcast a couple episodes back, but it's almost down to just a simple, when AOL was a big deal. When you first signed up for an AOL account, they would say, okay, what do you want your username to be, what's your email, with all this stuff, whatever. And they would give you this checklist. And you're checking off these things. Oh, I like sports. Oh, I like music. Oh, I like entertainment. I like technology. Everything that you were checking a box for was AOL's way of saying, you know what? We're going to put up pop-ups targeted for those specific products. Now, that was how they did it in the 90s. What they do now is, oh, you went to Staples and you decided that you wanted to buy this, or you looked at a notebook You didn't buy the notebook. You didn't put it in your wish list. You didn't do anything. You just went to Staples. You go to another website in a random fashion and it's, oh, well, remember that product you saw on Staples? Do you want to buy it? And it's like, okay, we're being outsmarted and we still by nature are going to fall for the trap, but it's knowing if the trap is worth falling for. So I know that's kind of like a spin off from what you're saying, but it's evident and clear, based on technology, how the product is outthinking us, but we think at this pace of the product based on us using it. That's the best way I can put that. I'm not gonna say if it, because our natural habit is,
I like that theory.
we,
I like that. I like that.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I like what you're saying, but that's why you have to. A lot of people, again, they disconnected themselves.
yeah,
So if you're disconnected themselves, if I see it, and it happens like one day I was talking, I was like, yeah, I had a client, on a call, and I said, well, his product was wanted to keep a truck driving to women, and so I said, okay, cool, you need to target women that's trying to get their PDL, and
right,
so I put that in, and all of a sudden I get women drivers with PDL popping up all the time. Your phone automatically does.
yep,
Anybody that has a phone, you can't escape the natural nature.
no, you can't escape the monster. That's impossible in that magnitude.
You
Yeah,
have to find a way to connect yourself so yourself can choose your desires for you, not something saying, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about anyway. It must be fake. No, it ain't fake. You know what I mean? Like, you as a human being have your own mental positive mind to generate things and like produce amazing stuff in this world. But you have to get to the point where you can think for yourself.
right,
It starts at a very kid level. Like, I got a 8-year-old little girl, and I'm like, man, my constant thing with her is responsibility gives the kid the ability to think for themselves.
right,
Without responsibility, their mindset scatters and they're able to do all these things. And it's like, no, the mind needs to go and hide so that you can recognize patterns. So when a pattern comes, you will not focus on that pattern. And
yeah,
that's the law of responsibility. And it's like, I study the ants and stuff, so like I get real deep with like understanding math systems and stuff and how people are. Because you're trapped in your phone, it's the new jail. It's the new consolidation from being great. Because now I can control your mind.
right,
The hardest thing to get people to do is not learn or to learn. That's the hardest thing to get people to do is learn. Because it's so trying to be trained. It's easy for a kid to get yourself in school and everybody on their cell phone all the time. And that one kid said, let me focus more on studying than being on my cell phone. He outworks everybody in the community. Only because he makes that one adjustment. And everybody don't get like my kid has a cell phone, she's 8, and I'm just kind of testing her out with it. And it's just like it's traumatized. Can't do nothing with herself. She like, boom.
yeah,
She knows it's time to go to bed. Like, she's straight up on every excuse in the world to be good. I be talking to her, like 4 or 5 responses. Like, yo, I'm gonna throw something at you if I have to say one more thing about, going and doing what you need to do. The cell phone is just like, it really is a bothersome to society. And you gotta get back to your natural self.
right. That's true.
Nobody's paying attention. Now, it's okay to be making products and having a business. I could talk about this, and my daughter used to always say, Daddy, you always on your cell phone. I put it down when I'm not doing business.
Yeah, of course.
I put it down when I'm not connecting with people. I put it down when I'm not reading about stuff when I put it down because I don't need. Like, I'm literally on my cell phone only to set up appointments and intrigue new clients and try to build something out of my coaching program. That's the only purpose for me. If you go to my Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, anything, I'm the same person all across the board.
Okay.
And my conversations is the same all across the board. Right? And I feel like with that, it gives the identity of, this is what this dude does. If I look up on Google, I just hit him in the mouth with your success. Everything comes up with me. It's just like, boom. This is why Anthony Tyrone Jones, A.G. Jones exists on social media. It's not the showing what food I'm eating. It's not the showing on my family's life experience. It's not if you're doing and that's just me personally.
Of course, yeah.
I know that it takes so much energy to build a brand. I look at social media as a billboard that's up right now, and it's free. And you could be on it as much as possible, promoting what you say you dope at, what you say you the man at. So you could be on this thing 24 hours, just giving endless amount of information about how you're going to be the next best thing in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm taking advantage of that like crazy. That's how I became a great speaker in 3 years because I hit it so hard. I'm doing 14 hours a day, every day. And nobody else is doing it. Everybody just getting on there sometimes motivated. Now, you can't compete with me.
Yeah, because they had a different different level. Right.
Yeah, like, I understand that it ain't about the numbers. It's about how much I can stay in your face. And if I can stay in your face, if I can make quality products that other people talk about, that I can get a testimonial from, and you see that, I'm going to be the man. I don't have to sit around here and do all these master classes and all that stuff.
Right.
I got to keep working on my brand every day and keep putting up content, keep reading more books, keep learning what other people ain't talking about. You know what I mean? Like, that's the game. And, whatever you talk about sports, or anything you're doing, you dominate it because you like, nobody else care about it like I care about it.
Yeah.
About all these things, like,
that's true. That's the reality. That's something that I'm beginning to grasp more. Like, I know, like, it's a friend of mine now. He's probably my go-to for graphic design. Well, I'll say designing period, like graphic and web. And I mean, hey, this is that podcast, so we just gonna let it happen. We were talking, and he knows, like, pretty much him and I grew up. As far as when he graduated high school and I graduated high school, we met each other at the job we're at now. I left a few times, but he was still there. And so whenever I come to him and talk about stuff, if he knows that I'm getting ready to get into like that design conversation, he'll kind of say, look, you got to stop like fighting yourself. If it's what you want to do it. And I mean, at one point, I would almost say, let's see, this is 2015, because I've had my Mac now for 4 years. I was on the fence like, oh, I don't know if I want to get a Mac. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a Mac. He was like, look, if you're trying to do what you're doing, between you doing music, between you doing designing, all that type of stuff, get a Mac. I did it, haven't looked back. So it's one of those things, like you said, you got to have the right team and the right core, like, supporting you in what you're doing.
Really give you some really deep knowledge right now.
Okay, share with the listeners, and I'm listening too, because it's like this is a different show. This is a different show for me because normally I'm like, and I'm gonna be honest, I probably might have asked you like one question from my list, and I'm sitting here like I keep looking at the list, and I'm like, yeah, these questions ain't gonna happen, and that's fine. It's cool. It's cool because it's a good. No, you're good. You're good. This is I'm letting you. This is as I've told my friends. Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming in and coming on and just speaking. Like it's a difference because lately I would say probably May or June, this new term came up for me, and I had to distinguish the difference between the two. And if anybody gets offended, oh well. There's what I call unpacking, where it's like, hey, look, I need to unpack this. Let's talk about it and let's put it all out on the table. And then there's my term that I use to have fun, which is emptying the clip. And whenever I think of emptying the clip, I think of, if anybody remembers the cartoon Yosemite Sam with Bugs Bunny, when he just come in gunslinging hot, and I'm like, hey, if you got to empty the clip, I'm not gonna like get it off. Like I would rather you talk about it and share it because it's a message that can help the listeners, but it also can help me. So that's why it's like I'm looking at the editing as a quick segue. Like I'm looking at just the recording now, and I'm like, there are more quiet points, and I'm like, no, it's good because he's like, it's you talking, and that's the purpose of this conversation because they know what I sound like. I mean, great. Like let's hear.
I'm humble, man. I know, my goal in this world is to educate young people and young entrepreneurs so that they can have the tools so that they can survive and get to their destination before things slip away.
Right.
It just seems like there's not enough time, or you're not going to achieve what you see in your head because you got so many people around you that just ain't on nothing. They're not even close to me feeling comfortable to call them on the phone and have one of the conversations that like it's gonna change my life.
Yeah.
And I want to be a voice to people online or wherever. And man, you know what? That right there is what I need to hear so that I can go and do what I know I need to do.
Right.
Because people don't need to be told what to do. They need a push.
Yes.
They need a push. You know what I'm saying? And that push would just give them everything else that they need so that they can get, their family last name to where it needs to stand. And that's my desire in this world, and that's why I do what I'm doing because I want somebody like that, bro. Like not having a father,
okay,
but having a father, but he just refused to be around, and your mom wasn't the best mom. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel like, yo, what was wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Like why can't I have the family or like be normal? And so seeking out being normal where everybody's from a dysfunctional situation is the key. Everybody wants success.
Yes, we do.
Where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? And if you can hear something from somebody that's not selfishly only talking about themselves, but giving a scenario of what they went through and their experience, then man, that's life changing.
True.
It's really life changing. So these conversations we're talking about right now, I want it to affect every listener to the point where they can go out there and be the greatest, and ain't nobody got to tell them that. They don't have to ever have this conversation again. And that's what we dissecting right now. Let me talk about building the camp.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was like, he got the gym, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let that first part ride, but I was like, I know it's a gym, so go ahead. I'm here. I'm all ears.
Yeah. So man, I'm a Christian, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't force my Christian values on people, but I've been studying Proverbs, and I love study, and I think that everybody that's in here should like get into just studying, just get books. Another book I read is Napoleon Hill, Think Big, Grow Rich.
Okay.
And that book right there slaps you in the throat. Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. And my book is called The Master Reset.
Okay.
And like, just get these books out here and get your mindset right. And but in Proverbs, there's 31 chapters. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the dopest books in the Bible because it's really about wisdom. It teaches you about what to do, what not to do. And in the beginning of Proverbs, it talks about don't follow wicked men and go into wicked places and go slay people for no reason. When I'm reading that, I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
And like all this stuff, like, yo, so okay, cool. So he's trying to get you to not be following stupid people early in life. So, all right, cool. So wicked is like people that just want to do something crazy. They ain't got nothing else to do. How many people have been around folks that you just be like, yo, we ain't got nothing to do, but you want to go and rob a bank? Like, why would you even come over here thinking about robbing? Out of all the things in the world we could go do, you want to go rob a bank? Like, I'd have been around stupid people like that. Like, I don't know why they want to go. Yo, man, we can go do this, or we just, or maybe I just been in crazy environment. People just want to do stupid stuff.
Right.
But it talks about you not doing it because you got a conscience enough in your body to say, all right, I don't need to do it, right? And so in Proverbs 4:27, Proverbs 4:27, 20 through 27, you read down, it talks about how to live. And one of the first things it talks about is you got to be diligent in your heart to your passion. That's the first thing. So diligent in what you want to do. Like, I want to be one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world. And that's my desire. I want to be a philanthropist that's changing the world in such a beautiful way that, bigger than Nelson Mandela, bigger than Obama. That's the desire I have.
Okay.
And doing it diligent. Now, the pain in my life is going to come from me trying to do that.
Right.
It's not going to come from me having no baby mama. The only reason I got a baby mama is because I wasn't doing diligently my passion.
Right.
If I would have got married, boom, I would have been, my family and me doing diligently my passion would have been my problem in my life. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. Then at the end of it, it said, listen, when people try to get you off your square, don't look left, don't look right, establish all your ways. So, with me saying that, you dealing with people that you know that's not going to benefit your life is why people are really messed up in life. You're not supposed to be out here thinking about sex, like just sleeping with every chick that you see. And that's a problem. It's a problem in the system, in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get deep on folks, but like when you
don't unpack it now. So you're gonna unpack it then, like partially unpack. Okay, got it. Go ahead.
I ain't saying because I don't want people to be like preaching. I ain't preaching.
No, you're giving a message. You're giving a message that's genuinely coming from your heart and from what your experience is. So I get it.
Absolutely, it's strictly my perspective, but I'm letting you know what works. And a lot of people are super dope, but they so dope, but every chick that come by them, they be thinking about sleeping with them in their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't be that dude or that woman. You know what I'm saying? And like understanding that, finding the right friends and finding the right people in your life. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's all about those people seeking wisdom.
Right.
You have to have wise. You can't just have friends that just are followers.
Yeah.
Even with let me get deep on you. Even with your wife or the girl that you pick, she gotta know Proverbs just like you know Proverbs.
Yeah, somebody.
If go down, you're gonna have to be like, yo, you know that was wrong, or she gonna be like, no, you know that's wrong, because y'all reading on the same level.
Right.
When it said we perish for lack of knowledge, it's because you with somebody that ain't got the same knowledge you got, and you trying to prove to them something that they ain't gonna never read.
Yeah, that's a reading.
So that's
31. I'm overdue to read Proverbs 31. Somebody put that bug in my ear a couple weeks ago for
Bro, if you want, you know what an odious woman is, man?
I do not. I'm being transparent.
Bro,
I remember because I know you mentioned it earlier, but I don't. I'm not gonna like one thing with me. I know what I know, and there's a lot of things. If I don't know, I'm no clue.
Bro, everybody on here, once you read odious woman that you gotta read it. I'm not even gonna.
I'm
not even.
See now, so now
you're
segueing from the unpacking to emptying the clip, which we don't know. But I get what you're saying though.
Let me tell you how important the odious woman is to be known to every young person. One, an odious woman only is odious because she thinks she's not odious.
Right.
Two, an odious woman is only odious if you don't read a word. And three, an odious woman looks like Cardi B.
Got it. The more you know. I'm rolling. Normally I would put a sound effect in, but for the sake of the show, I'm gonna let it rock.
The best thing I can say on this podcast is if you're thinking about being married,
mm-hmm.
the word teaches you about, looking out for an odious woman, because that is what you don't want. Every man says, what type of woman that I need to find? What type of woman you don't need to find? Is what you need to be asking.
Gotcha.
And dude, I've been in deep studying in Proverbs 30. It talks about an odious woman, and I read across it real slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what is an odious woman? I ain't never heard of that in my entire life. And I thought about it. I was like, okay, so look this up. So when I looked the word up, my chest, my heart jumped out of my chest,
mm-hmm.
because I've seen so many of them, and I would get angry when I'm around them. Like I would physically get angry, and I would say, why am I feeling like this? And it gotta be something with me feeling like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, that word was the definition of what I was feeling, and I couldn't put words to it. And with me saying that, in Proverbs, it changed my whole world, bro.
Gotcha.
It was one of the books that I read, because it teaches you not to get mad at folks. Let people talk. Let people act crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do what they want to do. Don't you ever feel like you let somebody come to you, because if you knew what you really know, they would be more afraid of you than they perceiving to be the big and tough person.
Right.
And I'm just, it's a book of strength.
Okay.
Every dude that's having problems out here, you don't know how to deal with your woman, you need to read that book, bro. 31 of them.
All right. I got you.
It's
on my.
Like, hit me back after you read it and be like, okay.
Yeah, that'll definitely be one of those, like, all right, we got to really that would likely lead you into being like a return guest on the show. So I do have now. The list, like I said, is 12 questions. I ain't gonna make them, and I'm not even gonna try. But I do.
Let's try to hit them.
Oh no, it's cool.
One answer.
You good? All right, bet. Okay. So I did. So I will. Now this one I will ask you. I did see that you did a podcast on Spreaker back in 2018. Why did you stop?
Say that again.
You had did a I saw you had did a podcast before on Spreaker. Do you remember?
Yeah, I was going hard, man. I was going hard on Spreaker for like 33 episodes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, I lost my adrenaline because I was going, and like this brand has been moving, and I've been doing like a social media tour, because I'm a really good live broadcaster. I love live broadcasting.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing, and I took it in that lane. Now I got so many videos that I could turn into podcasts. And I just gotta edit it down and do it. But like, man, I really have been like, it's all about intent.
Okay.
And really just trying to put out as much information and showing the journey without over complicating myself with that. Oh, I got this. Oh, I got this. Oh,
right.
I got this.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff,
That's true.
But it's about who is getting it, and like, is it benefiting them? Because that's the goal at this point.
Right. Okay. That's fair. like I said, some of the questions you kind of already talked about. You already mentioned where you were from. You've given the overall what makes coaching unique for you, because that's been majority of this show. Given the idea of a confidence coach, you explained that very clearly. My two, so my well, actually, I got three. One is, do you consider yourself more of a thinker or a feeler? And I'll explain what I mean by that in a simpler manner. So whenever we have questions, thinker or feeler.
A feeler?
Uh-huh. Like people, when we give statements to people, we'll say, I think I think this, I feel this. Do you find yourself going more towards being a thinker, or do you find yourself going more towards being a feeler?
I call myself on to thinking more.
Okay. All right. And I kind of figured that, but I was like, just for the sake of for the question that I had.
Yeah.
What would be one of your go-to books to read? You mentioned a couple, but what would be like the one go-to that is your, like, you need to read this book?
The $1 Million Message.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what I do.
Gotcha.
I like this book. It's about you having a message and being able to distribute it to people in a way where people love your knowledge and how you're presenting it to the world.
Okay.
I can't think of words, but I get that.
No problem. Yeah, worst come to worst, luckily with the joy of technology, I can always I can likely push the
It's by Brendan Burchard.
Okay.
Brendan
I feel like
Burchard.
you say it's called The $1 Million Messenger. I feel like I'm not gonna say I've read that book, but I know I've had that book on standby, or like it's different books that I've been wanting to read or have a chance to read. So two books that I guess they've stuck with me is, and I always tell people this, if you haven't read it, this is kind of key. One is The Secret. Obviously, it's the law of attraction, like attracts like, how energies are very key to life, how people can connect, on a spiritual level, on a personal level, in whatever facet, and you kind of know where your strong points and your weak points are. And the other book, and if you might have read this one too, is The Four Agreements. The Four Agreements is a book that has kind of almost been my mantra of just growing in the last year and a half. And I didn't realize the extent of it until doing shows like this. Because one of the agreements that I have become aggressive in telling people is be impeccable with your word. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what you mean impeccable? What do you mean? I'm like, you have to stand behind what you say. And the problem with that now is we make a lot of statements. Granted, in this case, it's recorded, so it's it's available, it's edited. It's not it's edited for the sake of hearing and sound quality, but you can't go in and remove a thought. Versus when you talk with someone and a person can have like a 30-second or 40-second dialogue with you, and after they finish, the first thing, and I've done this with people now, I've been like, do you remember anything that you just said? And they're like, no. I said, okay. And that's when you have to kind of bring them back. And like a lot of what you shared, this is a show that needed to be recorded. So like, be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. Don't make assumptions, and don't take anything personal. Like, those have been some agreements that I've worked on. The Fifth Agreement book has been with me, but reading it has been the adjustment, because I'm working personally on reading more. I'm not gonna lie, and that's been a huge adjustment. I'm not gonna lie. But
let me tell you why it's hard. Because you're not understanding how you like to get information. Like, your body feels good when you're sitting listening to a podcast, probably.
My body feels good when, that's to answer that part. Yes, listening to podcasts is a very unwinding feeling. but I also am a music snob. So I like to get good music. It's
right, right. I'm asking you that because I'm an audiobook like geek, bro. I have so many audiobooks that like, and what happens is you're listening to the audiobook. When you're interested in the audiobook, you automatically
right.
Your brain makes you read because you're interested. But if you're not interested in the book, so I encourage people that are authors out here, if you want your book sales to go up, then you have to do an audio book to your book because people will read your book if they had an audio version of it. Because it's more like, okay, cool, I will sit here. Because sometimes I have my headphones, sometimes I don't have my headphones, and I'm interested in what I left off on. So I go back and I'll start reading. Like
right.
in the Bible, bro, I can go in the Bible because I'm in sections that I really like.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, boom. So I can get into that, and then the reason is almost like you know how you're on a scooter or something, and you just kind of like scooter. I don't know if I can describe it like that.
Nah, you good.
But that would encourage, because I know I would fall asleep on like just getting a whole bunch of books. Bro, yeah.
Yeah.
I have another secret book for you too, man. This is a goodie.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
All right.
This is a let me find it. This book is really dope because it helps you understand what type of communicator you are.
Mm-hmm.
The name of this book is called I Wish I Said That.
I wish I said that.
I wish I said that.
I had said that. Okay. Yeah, I got like.
Talk your way out of trouble and you get the good.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a queue of books right now that I have like just on stand. Like my wish list is just filled with books that I'm just like, all right, I need to get on getting these books. So, like a transparent thought, the reading isn't what I'm delayed on. It's because I have a study book that I'm trying to study because I've personally left money on the table. I'll just put it like that. And I want to get back into my craft, and that's what I've been working on since I would say May. And lately it's been just like now to a point like I'm even looking at it because I'm actually, and I'll promote her in a real quick. A friend of mine who I went to school with, she does a weekly more, it's like almost like a organizational session, like from 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. or 9 to 10 usually, where we get into like as a group. She'll do an Instagram live. A couple of us will get on, and she just goes into just breaking down how to get better with organization. Like I had to make my new term, as a friend of mine has used, I made an executive decision. I was using a program to do, it's called like Todoist. And basically it was my way of keeping track of like all of my things that I organized and did through the day. And I was like, all right, that's cool, but I need something that's more streamlined, more convenient. And lately I've gone to Google Tasks. And I'm giving all that story just because one of the things that's on there is to study my notebook. I mean, study my networking book, get into reading, praying more. Lately I've been meditating more, just doing things that I just wasn't doing enough. And trying to do, being my best at doing those things.
Bro, if you want to be a champion, my daughter, let me tell you how crazy I am. This is switch mode.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you like to be great, you have to be a beast.
Right.
Like my daughter just left. She's been gone Monday. And so I had her for the summer, so I had to just kind of chill. But like my schedule is going to be from 4:30 in the morning until I can't go no more every day. Like, starting Monday. And if you're not that obsessed with your workflow, then you never can reach the level
Yeah, and I've had to make some personal changes on my end to get that adjusted because that's a separate unpack all by itself. Um, I'm gonna. So I don't. This isn't me rapping because we've peaked an hour, but I also want to give like because I know the human's attention span is very quick, and I also know like there's a lot of information here that is really like I need to sit and deep dive because it's good and great. Um, so as you know, the name of the show is The Pass. And like I said, it's talking about sports stuff, technology, all that. I usually do my stupid story ass of the week. None of that's existing. But at the end of the show, I like to do a part that I like to call Pass the Message. So basically, anything that you have as an inspirational message to the listeners, something that they can gain, something that can help them, any message, even for me, I don't like, it ain't even me being selfish, but it's also just something in general. I always like to give this time to, especially like I like my guests to do their pass the message, and then I have one too. Mine's is going to be off the cuff because I don't have anything planned. I know yours is obviously since I'm asking you this now. So, what is that one message you can pass along to the listeners?
I can't do anything about my circumstances. I control my feelings. Feelings control my actions. My actions control my results.
Okay, that's deep. That's pretty simple and concise. And that's something that I'm probably gonna have to put as like just save that specific recording as a reminder because I've been working on that as well. Um, my message that I'm gonna pass. Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna say thank you. Like, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for working with me on short note. When I don't know why I keep saying short notice, but thanks for working with me, under change of circumstances and, doing this as a phone interview. Cause it's still like, luckily with the craft, and this isn't me being like cocky. Luckily with me learning my craft the way I have, I've been able to get better with editing on Adobe Audition. Cause at one time I couldn't, I would just, this recording that we're doing now, it would have been just like this and it would have been uploaded and that was it. It wouldn't have been any editing. It wouldn't have been any modification. But with time, I've learned to grow with it. And I'm just thankful that you came on and have like really been just not just a breath of fresh air, but a transparency of truth and just a lot of what you shared and a lot of your personal experience. So that's, I guess, pass the message A. Pass the message B, or my message that I'm passing to the listeners as well as to you is never let what others think stop you from growing. So basically, if you know that because people for whatever reason no one wants to see us succeed. And when I say us, because I gotta be fair, no one wants to see blacks succeed. And it's a rarity when you're seeing someone your own color, your own skin, your own relation going through a similar circumstance and they're getting over the hump. And it's like, that's confirmation of growth. So keep your, like, what you're doing, like, literally, like, my passing message to you literally is just keep the same energy and build on that energy to others. We definitely are going to talk because I do plan on reading. I'm like I said, Psalms 31 was my homework. My mother gave me another verse that I need, chapter that I need to read. It was Matthew. I don't know the exact chapter, but I have it. Evernote Bay. I'll just put it like that. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna get that ball rolling. Before we now, that's our. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do a series, man. So like, if you want to be a part of it, like I'm breaking it down so you understand it. So you, and not just you, but just anybody that wants to come. I'm building the whole course and everything to get people educated on just the simplicity of how to be this dope. Because you already dope. You just gotta stop thinking that what's around you normal.
Yeah.
Normal is not normal.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, I've had to retrain my brain, which is still an adjustment. And it's been little things I've shared it on the show. I've started doing therapy. I've moved differently. I've thought differently. I process differently. I spend more time thinking before I act, which is new, because sometimes it's usually just, you know what, let me just do it and I'll deal with the consequences later. But now it's been more of a process. Before I close the show out and before we wrap it up, if there's any social media plugs you want to give, and I'll make sure that I reach out to you and get the correct links for everything, because I'm just that person. Like I like you. It was something you said early in the show, and it's something I want to make sure of, is that I gave you a good podcast approach, because I know a lot of times people don't like doing business with bad people who aren't good at what they're doing, and I want to make sure that you've gotten that on this end. So if you have any social plugs, push them, present it, push your brand. If you don't sell everything, I'm gonna start selling it, because I'm one of them people, because I do research. Like I try my best.
Yeah. So you can, if you go to hashtag Hit 'em in the Mouth for Success, you'll see all my stuff. And hashtag AT Jones. It's real simple, man. I'm on Facebook as AT Jones. I'm on everything else as The Real AT Jones. I have a new song out called Fly High. I got another song coming out next week on YouTube. It's going to be called Flexibility, and it's talking about the shark. And man, I'm thank you, man, for this incredible opportunity. I just want to bless as many people that just need to wake up their insides, man, so we can get this thing moving.
Yeah. And you can also go to his website, www.atjones.com. See, I know y'all always forget to do one, and I'm like, see, this is why I got a podcast.
Right.
Because y'all will forget that one other page, and I'm like, so you don't want to promote the website itself? Okay, I got it.
Right.
Because and I
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, same here, man. Like, I'm glad this is a collab. Like, this is a show I want to do again. This will, be a good. It's a good platform, and it's a good way to kind of get out there. Like I said, I'm gonna edit, and I'm saying this on air because I'm honest. I always make sure once I'm finished, I get you. You got the link. You push it. And a friend of mine has taught me to do this, and I'm working on this as well, like learning to press shows forward by giving them, like, hey, if you listen to the show or like it, share it with 6 people. We share it with 6 people. So I'm going to work on doing that. That might be a good, idea. Once this show gets uploaded, I'm going to share it with 6 friends, and I'm hoping they share it with 6 people. So, yeah. Time to start speaking things in the universe. What's up?
With your business and stuff, man, if you want to, like, since you have a show, it's real easy to get people to go in their DMs. You see how I hit you up in your DM?
Yeah.
You really got to be aggressive about just talking to people and just saying, hey, man, I just wanted to send good vibes. Can you just tell me what will make my show better? Or you just really get people talking to you, and then that will get people to share. They will share when they know. People share my stuff because they just, that's AT, let me just share.
Right. That's true.
And that's the game with the sharing. It ain't got nothing to do with people. The more people you talk to, like, you got to treat online like it's a store.
Right.
Like, straight up. And you just going in there and saying, hey, about as many people and trying to build a big enough foundation so that you'll be able to do what you're trying to do. That's how you build your fan base. It ain't nothing hard. You have to keep up with people and deal with people and stuff, And that's the tricky part, because you don't want to deal with everybody you come in contact with.
Absolutely. You're right.
But we'll talk more. That's a whole nother. Yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah. I know you got stuff to work on, and I'm getting ready to. I'm actually, after this show, I'm getting ready to prepare. Well, people will have heard the show after the point, but I'm actually going to a screenwriters or storytellers series. Someone invited me to that, and it's humbling for me, because even with me not being a specific writer in that regard, it's still good to go, because you can learn something or meet someone who's doing something similar, and kind of get some tips and tricks. So that's my new thing. Like, I'm learning to break the chain and be a little bit more uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable before, but I really am like learning to be uncomfortable.
What do you want to do? What is your main goal?
My personal main goal immediately is that I would like my initial goal right now is that I'm pushing to get back into the IT field as far as with computers. Now, on a business personal level, I would like to. The podcast is the podcast. This has never been something that I've looked at as a profit based thing. This has been something I just like doing. On the other side, I'm learning to do, so I do graphics and web design. I've made a umbrella that's called Robot, which basically stands for Rely on BOT, which are my initials. I'm pushing to make myself the most reliable person in that platform. So my goal with that is to mainly get out of my own way and get that off the ground as a genuine business and not just something that I'm doing freelance just to do something.
I mean, I could have helped you do that, man. We should have talked about that. Why we talked about what I could have gave you a whole blueprint.
That's another show.
I could have gave you good. Yeah, that's what that's why they call me the Niche Guru.
Yeah, I've not. The reason I haven't touched that a lot is only because, and I've said this on the show. I've even wrote a blog about it. Like, I do a blog too. I do a weekly blog every Monday. That's that's just something I just like writing. So that's never been something that I've been like a heavy pusher on. But I did a blog called Are You Your Own Weapon? I've been my own weapon and I dislike it. So now I've been working to sharpen my iron in the case of preparing for what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's been getting out there more, being more like I talked about earlier with the confidence of doing the actual designing. Someone came to me and it's not me even putting them on blast. It's just a general conversation. They came to me with a design idea. I said, okay, I will try to work on it. I'm going to send you a questionnaire. And my boy, me and him had already talked about it before I sent it to her. And it was basically saying people don't do questionnaires, or people don't have that time to really put into it as you do. So it's almost like you have to. And my pastor said this, and he's known me a long time. He literally gave me a message, or it's a message that he always gives, which is meet people where they are. And in designing, I've been forced to learn. Sometimes you really got to meet people with what they are doing, because they don't understand when it comes to actually doing a design. It's not just like, for instance, with you doing music, it's not just go in the studio, make music, and you got a record. It's the process, it's the time, it's the effort, it's the energy. With designing, some things are kind of.
Oh man, I wish.
Yeah, no.
We would have talked about this. I wish we would have talked about this. Let me tell you. Okay, two seconds. I'm trying to get it out. 2 seconds.
Okay.
I had fired. Why did fire? I don't want to say fire.
Released.
I stopped working with a designer because they said what you just said right now. I literally said we can't work together because of the exact word that came out of your mouth.
Which was?
And the time, the effort, how much of interest design was for the design, for your personal interest in what it took for the creation of what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
For a consumer, that right there matters.
Right.
It matters to you. That matters to you. But for me, that don't matter.
Right.
And it's hard for the artist mental to take that and throw it in the trash. You gotta throw that part of your life away.
Okay.
It don't matter. That don't matter. The only thing that matters when you're a designer, like me as a piano player,
Mm-hmm.
I can play anything. I hear so many things going on, but when I'm sitting in the room, if somebody wants me to play something, I got to play what's in their head. I can't play what I know sound dope. That defeats the purpose of my skill and my ability.
Right.
My ability and my skill is to accommodate the person that got money to do whatever they need me to do so I can get the money. Not debate with them about what they want.
Okay.
And that's hard for the entrepreneur because the entrepreneur is still in hobbyism. Hobbyism is creating what you want to create. That don't matter. Who cares about what you want to create?
Right. I mean,
What matters is
that's
you
a
got a skill.
that's a 50. I mean, it's a. I agree with that. As a friend of mine introduced to me on 250 on my last episode. I understand. I get that. My difference isn't that I don't want what's important. Yes, what's important at the end of the day is what the consumer wants. That's never going to be ignored or not be factored in. The time and effort, that's something that you're personally taking into account, which isn't going to be factored or thought of by the consumer. Because all the product, like when a person walks into Walmart, if they're buying a shirt that says Batman on it, they don't care how much time went into making the shirt. They just want the shirt and they want it to fit, and that's it. I get all of that.
That's it.
That part I get. The challenge, at least that I have seen, is if a person is saying that they want a design or they want something done, and you're supposed to just assume from looking at the person and hearing what they're saying, okay, this is exactly what you want. It's not that simple. Especially from I'm not going to just say a content creator's perspective, because
Now let me trick your brain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me playing piano, when I get paid to go to the church, and whatever come out of anybody's mouth, they are paying me to make them sound good.
Right.
You know how long it took me to learn how to do that?
Right.
Like straight up.
That's
a long time.
And when you're at that time of doing that, I agree. But if you're someone coming in, and I know the person on the other side doesn't care about that, but it would be like someone saying, hey, I'm going to give you a title for a blog and I want you to write something about it. And it's like, you're not really giving me any information on what to go with. You're just telling me.
Let me tell you. I get paid good money because I can do what you're saying seems impossible.
Okay.
Musically, I can't do it as an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wish I could. I wish somebody could say, yo, I'm thinking about blah, 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 and I can imagine it in my head and then just make it. Because that's how I do with people sing. Even if you don't know how to sing,
mm-hmm.
if you just start humming a little bit to me, I can make the whole thing happen.
Right.
Like I can paint it all. I can do it all. It's like, I'm crazy. I don't know why I'm not. But I get paid for that. And as an artist, instead of, you gotta be the art. That's what being dope means. When something that you feel like you are asking me to jump over hell and high water, like you asking me to do something that's really impossible. That's when you make some money.
Right.
That as unselfishly as I'm trying to be with it.
Yeah.
That's how when I go out in the world, if I sit down, I can sit down in front of a piano, an organ, a synthesizer, a flute, anything, and I can make something out of nothing because I understand the science behind, just being great.
Right.
Not many people can do what you know how to do. You spend time on learning how to do it, knowing how it's supposed to be made, all that. The people that don't know how to do it is talking about how much time it takes. If I know I can do it, I'm going to say, okay, I'm available, blah, 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 blah. We're going to get it done. I'm not going to sketch out my whole plan. When I go in the studio, my engineers go down and say, all right, 18 times I got these kids. Boom. I'm knocking out 10 songs. I ain't sitting up there trying to knock out songs. Just hit, boom. You got the laid. You got the bass line laid. I'm filling in all the gaps.
Right.
And it's just like a puzzle. But if you're not workflow, and you remember me saying in the beginning, you gotta complete.
Yeah.
You can't complete it. It don't exist.
Yeah.
Can somebody give you a testimonial saying, yo, the last time I worked with you, it was so dope, man. You solved my problem just like that. Now, 10 people gonna hear that, and then 2 people gonna come and say, yo, can you help me?
Right.
Until you got that, that's how the ants work, man. The ants, when they go out, they looking for food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they operate. Man, so you trying to open up some stuff, boy. Like,
no, it's not. It's not.
That's how it works.
It's not a bad opening. I mean, it's better to have the conversation now than to never have it at all. Like, it's.
Yes, man.
It's not a like. I'm not like you got. If only you knew. It's not the concern of having the conversation, or it's not the worry of what's going to be said during the conversation, because this is a good conversation that's worth having. It's organic, it's transparent, it's one of those things that the only people who are going to get it are people who are doing it. And let me preface, when I say people who are doing it, and when I say people who are doing it, it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same thing you're doing. Like, everyone, in my opinion, and take it for what it is, everyone is a creator in their own mind. Everyone has different ways of how they create. Some people are good at blogging. Some people are good at designing. Some people are good at gaming.
Right.
Like, people don't realize playing video games is content. That's a creator. I've had to not defend it, but explain that to people, because they look at it as, why would you look at somebody play a video game? And it's like, this is coming from someone who watches Love and Hip Hop. That's creation. Somebody created that show. So it's the same form of a creation. But yeah, I mean, everything you're saying is spot on. Like, we about to go into a 2-hour show.
Yo, man, listen, people don't know why they're not successful, and then they have to just sit back and realize you're not gaining the momentum you need so you can be successful. If you're jumping around doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this, then you're never gonna get to where you're trying. You really gotta just stop.
My reason that I wasn't successful and why things had to change for me, and I got a cork board, and it's a lot of little messages on there, but it's one message that I put in permanent marker on a Post-it note, and it stuck with me to this day. For 35 years, I was a passenger. There in life, it's passengers and drivers. 35 years, I was stuck in claiming to be a passenger when the whole time I've been a driver. And it transitioned me now to realize I've got to be a driver. If I want anything done, I can't expect somebody else to get me where I need to go. Now, does that mean that things are going to fall apart? I mean, absolutely, that's life. But you got to still at least try to maintain control of the wheel till you can at least get over to the side and get help or do whatever you need to do to get out of that situation.
You don't know nothing. My mentor used to tell me, you can't go nowhere you can't see, and it used to irritate me because I didn't know what that meant. And
what was the message?
And then, he said, you can't go anywhere you can't see.
Okay.
And so I used to irritate me, and then I really, as I got older, started to read more.
Right.
You literally got to know how to feel what you're trying to feel. You can't depend on nobody else to figure it out for you.
Right.
Like, you literally got to know what to say to each customer that comes into your door, and they're buying something from you. Why they buying it? What's gonna make it better? What do they think about it? If you literally got to understand that, you can't just be out here making products and services and stuff
just because
nobody wants or care about.
Yeah,
it don't make sense.
Right.
But if you consciously can get yourself in a mental believing in what you like to do, It build your own products and services, and then have your T-shirts and get testimonials and stuff. Then who can tell you no? Who can say no? Your stuff is not working.
Right.
So what you talking about? It's whack. Nobody can say that. It don't matter if it's a record or art, that you're drawing, a graphic design company or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta take yourself out of the scenario and you guys just do the work.
Yep.
Just sit.
That's true. All right. We'll be on this for like a whole nother separate breakdown. But yeah, that thought we'll probably have that be our second report, because that will probably be something that I really do want to get into and dive into. And I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to get you off the show, because this could be a whole separate show. But I'm gonna wrap up the podcast. And thank you for being on. Don't disconnect yet. I'm just gonna do the closeout on the show, and this is me editing the way I do. But thank y'all. I appreciate everybody being on the show. If you're looking to get into podcasting, definitely check out Spreaker.com. I am a Debrate podcast. The microphone that you're hearing myself and AT Jones on, even through my my Bluetooth speaker that is connected to my mic, is thanks to the Blue Yeti mic. So if you're looking to get a mic, I would tell anybody to get the Blue Yeti mic. And you got to have the right editing tools, which I use Adobe Audition, but find the thing that works for you. And on that note, show's closing out. Y'all take it easy. The Pad signing out. Peace. Another episode is in the books. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. As I always share, if you'd like to get into podcasting, you can check out Spreaker.com. And if you're looking to invest in a microphone, or if you're looking to genuinely start with recording, I use the Blue Yeti microphone, but you may prefer to do the Samson Meteor. Just know that if it's your craft and it's something that you're meant to do it and do it well. That's my main thing to tell people about 2019. Do it and be reliable. Y'all take it easy.